big news on Rambler Classic for 1965. It has all the traditional deep-down classic values, but to the eye, it's totally new. Notice the big difference in the all-new design of the Classic? This is the intermediate-size new Rambler, a full 5 inches longer, 195 inches overall, with a new long, lean, low look. Yet it's on the same 112-inch wheelbase to retain the remarkable handling ease and short turning diameter. And for 1965, the Classic Series offers a complete array of 11 different intermediate-size models, all Rambler, yet distinctly different from the American. There are two two-door sedans, one in the 550 model, another in the 660 model. There are two two-door hardtops, the 770 and the 770H. In 1965, the 770H model replaces the Typhoon model, introduced in the spring of 1964. And there are three four-door sedans, the Classic 550, the 660, and the 770. The Classic 550 is one of three four-door station wagons available and offers the popular side hinge tailgate as an optional feature. In addition, the customer can select a Classic 660 or 770 station wagon, and the side hinge tailgate is part of the available third seat option with these cars. And now in 1965, an all-new model, a sparkling new convertible, has been added to the series. And what a car this new Classic 770 convertible is, with all the outstanding features of the Classic and a power top included as standard equipment. And there's power and performance to spare in this remarkable car, starting with the new Torque Command engine. What an engine! And it comes in a choice of three power options, ranging from the 128 horsepower version, which is standard on the 550, up to the spirited 155 horsepower version, which is optional on all Classic models. Or if the Classic buyer prefers, he can choose the 287-inch Rambler V8 engine at 198 horsepower, or for the ultimate in spectacular performance, the 327-inch 270 horsepower V8. This gives the Classic buyer a total of 5 power plants to choose from. Yes, the new Classic is truly a new, sensibly spectacular Rambler concept for 1965. Here is fresh Classic styling and brand new Classic performance, a combination that will cause prospects to look, to drive, to buy, and to enjoy an exciting new experience in motoring. In 1964, this car was the sales success of the year. Now watch it spring alive in 65. The same appeal that has kept the American a forerunner among compacts is retained in 1965. No question about it. This is the compact economy king, built compactly. 177 inches overall on a 106-inch wheelbase. But within that tight-knit body, the quality expected of a far higher-priced car, distinctive styling, luxurious appointments, with the famous American economy and basic ruggedness. This year, there's a complete line of 10 American models, starting with two two-door sedans, the 220 and the 330, and two two-door hardtops, the 440 and the 440H. Four-door sedans in all three model lines, 220, 330, and 440. Two four-door station wagons. One is a 220 model and the other a 330. And then there's the glamorous American 440 convertible with a power-operated top optional. And under the hood of all cars in this series, power and performance. A choice of three engines to deliver Americans' combination of unmatched economy plus zestful performance. These engines, all with alternators, range from the economical 90 horsepower Super Flying Scott, standard on the 220 and 330, up through the spectacular 155 horsepower Torque Command, optional on all American models. Yes, the compact economy king wears new robes in 65, a brand new measure of quality. Not only the top economy, balanced performance, and handling ease famous in the American, but the touch of luxury that every prospect will see in the sensibly spectacular Rambler American for 65. The glamorous Rambler Ambassador, the largest and finest of the new Ramblers. A brilliant combination of all that's best. A fine automobile in 1964. Look what's been done to it in 65. A longer, lower appearance keynotes the great Ambassador. Looks longer? It is longer. A 116-inch wheelbase. 4 more than the Classic, a full 200-inch length, and every inch is styled to show off this handsome car to full advantage. And this year, there are twice as many top-line Ambassador models. Here's a brand new model, a 2-door sedan offered in the re-established 880 model line. And with this, you have the handsome new 880 4-door sedan as well as a 990 4-door sedan. Then there's a new 880 4-door station wagon, as well as the 990 4-door station wagon. Both, of course, offer the exclusive side hinge tailgate feature as a separate option or as part of the third seat optional package. There are 2 2-door hardtops, the sporty Ambassador 990 and the splendid 990H. And now, for the first time in the Ambassador series, there's a new and brilliantly styled convertible designed strictly for the young in heart. Everything the most demanding owner could want in a convertible. Loaded with features. Its long, low, rakish styling tells you at a glance that this car is built to go, and it is. For in the Ambassador series, the new 155 horsepower Torque Command 6 is standard for all models, and the high-performing 198 or 270 horsepower V8 engines are optional. Yes, for the owner who wants everything fine a car can offer, it's the sensibly spectacular Rambler Ambassador, combining the most in dashing performance, exclusive options, and distinctive styling. It's Rambler Ambassador, the largest and finest of the new Ramblers, offering a startling new concept of fresh, spirited, youthful motoring excellence. In 1965, you have 3 distinctively different automobiles, 3 different sizes, 3 different styling designs, 3 different price classes, 3 different interpretations of the Rambler concept of providing highest value, greatest usefulness. Yet despite these differences, in 1965, you have cars that are all Rambler and all incorporate Rambler's famous extra value features. Yet, no matter which Rambler a customer is interested in, you'll want to talk about basic value in terms of all American and all classic and all Ambassador. Underlying these 3 distinctive cars is the basic craftsmanship that American car buyers expect from American Motors. Many features you will tell customers about in the action months ahead are features that are strong, important, and all Rambler. For example, one of the most significant is Rambler's strong, safe, advanced unit construction. Again, in Rambler, the frame and body are a single all-welded unit, and they are even stronger and more rigid, with the exclusive one-piece uniside panels which form box section structures around door openings, windshields, and rear windows to provide the greatest possible strength and rigidity and more perfect fit. To your customer, advanced unit construction means maximum protection and maximum durability. Passengers are surrounded and protected by box section girders welded together in one rugged structure. In 1965, some models have additional reinforcement. A longitudinal structure is used on the longer Ambassador body to provide even greater rigidity and ruggedness. On convertible models, pillar A-frames and body sills are reinforced, and the Ambassador door panels have been greatly strengthened. Strengthening these door areas also makes for a sturdy, solid sound in door closing. Improved doors featured on the Classic and Ambassador models include new door locks. The new lock combines a claw action and a rubber striker pin, which not only improves holding ability, but also contributes to the solid closing sound. And the door hinges on all Classics and Ambassadors have new oil-light bushings for smoother, easier, quieter door action. These oil-light hinges virtually eliminate the need for lubricating door hinges for the life of the car. And of course, Rambler sedans and wagons have exclusive double-sealed doors to prevent drafts, dust, and water leakage, to ensure Rambler passengers of complete comfort. Notice the long, long look of the rear end, characteristic of both Classic and Ambassador. It looks longer, and it is longer, both adding to the lower silhouette and adding to the size of the trunk and its usable space. The easy-to-load, roomy trunk has been enlarged to 15 cubic feet of usable space, over 10% bigger than last year. Much bigger than Fairlane, LeSabre, or Comet, and within a fraction of a cubic foot of Continental and Cadillac. On sedans and hardtops, the spare tire is relocated behind the rear seat in a semi-stand-up position for easier loading. The low trunk sill contributes to this loading ease. Another continuing feature that is all Rambler is exclusive deep-dip rust proofing, in which every Rambler body is dipped up to the roof in a rust-fighting paint primer bath, coating otherwise inaccessible areas and providing lasting protection to all surfaces inside and out. Combined with this is Rambler's generous use of galvanized steel at critical points, making Rambler America's most rust-proof car. On top of all this, the Rambler body has 6 layers of hard, deep gloss coating. New in 1965 are 3 coats of Luster Guard acrylic enamel, 3 wet-on-wet coats of the most beautiful and most durable of car finishes, with the final coat baked to a flint-hard mirror finish. And for 1965, these new acrylic enamels are available in 14 beautiful colors for all Rambler models. Previously, only 4 colors were offered in the superior acrylic enamel. Now we have this wide variety in both sparkling metallic and gorgeous non-metallic colors that form 22 handsome two-tone combinations, which are reversible to form 44 appealing two-tone combinations, plus 8 exclusive and delightful top-line model two-tone combinations. In addition, a luxurious wood grain trim is optional on the Ambassador 880 and 990 wagons. This is applied by a new and superior process. Vinyl film is bonded to thin steel panels, which are then mounted on the car. To complement the host of new acrylic enamel colors, there are 4 convertible top colors that complement the body colors. These colors are available for all 3 series. Another feature that is continued is curved glass side windows, which are standard in all 3 series. This adds a distinctive styling note, gives improved visibility, and makes car entry much easier. The total glass area in all series is virtually the same as in 1964, combining excellent visibility in all directions with attractive appearance and interior eye comfort. Another continuing Rambler exclusive is the unique ceramic armored exhaust system. Muffler, tailpipe, and exhaust pipe are ceramic coated over steel to prevent rust out and corrosion. And mufflers are insulated with asbestos and wrapped with an aluminized steel shield for further protection. Then we have an outstanding Rambler safety feature in the famous self-adjusting double safety brake system. It's standard on all Ramblers in 1965, and it has a strong safety appeal to prospects. These brakes have separate systems for front and rear wheels, so the Rambler will stop when most other cars cannot. When the brake pedal is pushed, two pistons are activated in the tandem master cylinder. One actuates the front brakes, the other the rear brakes. The two systems are separate. No matter what happens to one system, the other continues to operate. In addition, all Ramblers have bonded brake linings, which assure longer life without danger of brake drum scoring. On V8 models, larger brake wheel cylinders are used to reduce the foot pressure required. Again this year, optional power brakes are offered for all Ramblers. The Mastervac Bendix power unit provides pedal action that is 25% faster and 40% easier to apply, an excellent feature for those customers who want an additional margin of safety. Furthermore, this year, for the first time, all new power disc brakes are a factory-installed option for all Classic and Ambassador 6 and V8 models. These new Bendix caliper disc brakes have improved front braking action and are self-adjusting. With these brakes, a cast iron disc is rigidly attached to the wheel hub. The caliper, containing a pair of actuating pistons, holds a friction pad on each side of the disc. When the brakes are applied, hydraulic pressure on the piston forces the friction pads against the rotating disc. There is no fading or pulling. The new front disc brakes are balanced with new 10-inch flange drum brakes on the rear. This combination provides advantages in quicker, positive braking action in all situations, and the usual problem of brakes slipping or grabbing when wet is eliminated. In addition, all Ramblers have new low section height tires for 1965. The new tires have a contoured shoulder on the tread for improved, easier action in turns, and the low section height provides increased load carrying capacity, improved all-around performance, and smoother riding qualities. And once again, a set of 4 Goodyear Lifeguard safety tires comes with every 3-seat wagon. Sets of 4 or 5 Lifeguard tires are optional on all other Classics and Ambassadors. These tires carry what amounts to a built-in spare. If the outer tire loses pressure, the inner tire carries the load. But tires are only a small part of the factor that contributes to Rambler's safety and smoothness of ride. Another big all-Rambler feature is Road Command front suspension. All cars feature the smooth action of high-mounted deep coil springs, and a new boot-type seal totally encloses the lower ball joint of the suspension, positively locks it against water and dirt, protects it for the extended lubrication period of 32,000 miles or 3 years. Ramblers matched power plants for 1965. Engines matched to the weight and design of each Rambler series to provide optimum economy plus outstanding performance. There are 3 American engines. All are 6-cylinder cast iron engines, and all 3 operate efficiently on regular grade fuel. The 90-horsepower Super Flying Scot is the efficient 196-inch L-head engine that is standard on the 220 and 330 American models. The second engine is the 125-horsepower Custom Flying Scot, the 196-inch overhead valve engine that is standard on the 440 and 440H models and optional on the 220 and 330 models. The third engine is the brilliant new 155-horsepower Torque Command, optional on all American series cars, and an engine that will beat any previous 6-cylinder engine. This remarkable new engine offers high-stepping power with 6 big cylinders, 232 cubic inches of displacement, an 8.5 to 1 compression ratio, a brand new 2-barrel carburetor, and with an over-square bore and stroke ratio, wedge-shaped combustion chambers, and new type giant hydraulic valves. And this engine offers unmatched efficiency with a rigid cast iron block, full pressure lubrication, a full flow oil filter, full water jacketing around all cylinders and valves, and new design thermal cylinder walls for rapid heat transfer. And finally, it offers vibration-free smoothness with 7 main crankshaft bearings, plus 8 counterweights, and with the whole assembly dynamically balanced with its automatic transmission torque converter to provide literally the smoothness of the finest V8 engine. But although a totally new concept in advanced engine design, the basic engine has been proved beyond a doubt in over 1 million miles of running under all conditions in our Texas test run, and in owner's hands when it was installed in our limited production Typhoon, plus some 15,000 hours of dynamometer operation in the laboratory. It has come through with flying colors. It combines gas-stretching economy on regular gasoline with getaway performance as never before. It's so smooth and quiet, you'd think you were driving a V8. This engine is manufactured in the brand new American Motors engine plant at Kenosha, Wisconsin. $34 million were spent to make this the world's most advanced engine manufacturing plant. Here, under the most exacting specifications and the most rigid quality controls, the spectacular new torque command engine is being manufactured, tested, and proved to put Rambler in a class by itself among compact sixes. The lineup of 5 classic engines is led by 3 models of the all-new torque command engine. Standard on the 550 model is a special high-economy version at 199 cubic inches and 128 horsepower. Standard on the 660, 770, and 770H is a single-barrel carburetor version of the 232-inch torque command engine, putting out a spirited 145 horsepower. And optional on all classic models is the spectacular new 155 horsepower 2-barrel version of the Torque Command 232, the world's most advanced 6-cylinder engine. Also optional on the Classic are 2 advanced design V8 engines, one delivering 198 horsepower with a 287 cubic inch piston displacement, the other delivering 270 horsepower with 327 cubic inches. These engines, matched to a car of the Classic's weight, deliver truly spectacular road performance. Now for the exciting lineup of 3 Ambassador engines, headed by the 2-barrel 155 horsepower Torque Command 6, which is the standard engine for all Ambassadors. In addition, the spirited 198 and 270 horsepower V8s are optional for all Ambassadors. And talk about performance. With this 270 horsepower V8 engine, an Ambassador will rocket away from a standstill to 60 miles an hour in just 10 seconds. Contributing to performance is a new and improved 2-barrel carburetor for the 198 horsepower engine that incorporates the latest design advances and gives more efficient operation and greater reliability. The easy-to-clean carburetor air cleaner, standard on all Ramblers, both cleans the air and quiets carburetor power roar without robbing power. The 15-micron paper element fuel pump filter in all Rambler fuel pumps removes foreign particles from the fuel supply and effectively keeps them from reaching the carburetor. The 35-ampere electronic alternator is standard equipment. With the extra power demands of air conditioning, a 40-ampere system is a new standard feature for 1965. Along with this is a transistorized regulator. This electrical system, standard for the first time on the American, eliminates generator failures and provides greater capacities under the most severe conditions. Add to this electrical system another improvement, the PowerGuard 24 intercell battery, an exclusive battery design in which the cells are connected inside the case for reduced resistance and more starting power. And of course, all Ramblers feature the unique Tri-Poise engine suspension system that cradles and cushions the engine at the center of gravity, providing maximum smoothness and vibration-free performance. Rambler's exclusive torque tube powertrain is the vital link on all Classics and Ambassadors between the engine and rear wheels. The torque tube forms a rigid unit in which all moving parts, including the propeller shaft, are completely enclosed. It provides complete protection for these parts against stones, dirt, and water, and also minimizes diving and squatting during braking and acceleration. The hypoid rear axles have been improved in 1965. Increased dependability and even more quiet operation are a result of new manufacturing techniques. Engine, powertrain, axle all work in team with the transmission. And in 1965, there is a wide variety of transmission options to suit the special needs and requirements of any Rambler owner. They include the manual 3-speed column shift transmission as standard on all models. This transmission, noted for its durability and quiet, smooth operation, is the most trouble-free transmission in the industry. As a step-up option, overdrive is available on all models with a manual 3-speed transmission, a feature not offered on most competitive cars. Designed for effortless, economical cruising, it reduces engine speed by 30% to provide exceptional gas and oil economy, low engine wear, and quiet, high-speed cruising. For those who prefer an automatic, the Rambler Flash-O-Matic torque converter transmission is optional on all Rambler models in 1965. And here's another industry exclusive. Twin-stick floor shift, optional on the 440 and 440H, the 770 and 770H, and the 990 and 990H when equipped with the slim bucket seats and console. With this special overdrive system, 5 progressive forward speeds are provided. Gear shift travel is held to a minimum, and there's quick, positive, responsive shifting action. At the top of the line is Shift Command Flash-O-Matic, the unique floor shift system that offers both automatic and manual operation at the driver's choice. It is optional with all top model V8s when equipped with slim bucket seats and console. And in 1965, it is also optional on cars having the 155 horsepower Torque Command 6-cylinder engine plus slim bucket seats and console. And with this 6-cylinder engine, in the D range, this transmission starts in first gear, upshifts to second, and then shifts to third. This sequence provides the highest possible rate of acceleration from a standstill. Now let's talk about handling ease. With Rambler's manually controlled recirculating ball manual steering system used on the Ambassador and Classic, or the gear type used on the American, steering is easy, responsive, and positive. Or, as with so many Rambler owners, a prospect may want road control power steering, an optional feature on all Rambler cars. The power mechanism is incorporated within the steering box, eliminating linkage and long hose connections. To the motorist, it means effortless steering and faster wheel return on cornering. And of course, a Just-O-Tilt steering wheel is optional on Classics and Ambassadors and is now available with or without power steering. On top of all this, there are a whole host of options to suit the mood of today's car buyers. Men and women who want and are willing to pay for extra comfort, extra convenience, extra performance, extra luxury. This begins with power lift side windows, available on all Classic and Ambassador models except convertibles. The controls include the driver-controlled lockout system as a safety feature, especially important with children. The prospect will delight in the eye comfort of sunshade Solex glass, and he can have the assurance of complete visibility under any driving conditions with Rambler's optional variable speed electric windshield wipers. Perhaps the greatest comfort feature of all, one for which American Motors is famous, is the wide variety of comfortable seats. You can offer a prospect practically any type of seat that will suit his special needs. And all Rambler seats provide the restful comfort of luxurious full-coil seat springs in front and rear seats, a quality feature shared only by America's most expensive cars. Standard on all front seat cushions are foam rubber pads, while foam-cushioned rear seats are standard on 990H, 770, 770H, and 440H models, optional on the 550, 660, and 880. Unlike many competitive models, full side shields are on all top-line models, plus midline Classics and Ambassadors. Partial shields are on basic models, plus the midline 330. In 1965, we offer all new swing pivoting front seat backs on all two-door models equipped with standard seats. This seat pivots in a new angular motion, moving farther forward to provide greater rear entry room. Our new airliner reclining seats now have a total of 7 seat back positions instead of the previous 5. With these additional seat positions, the first reclining position is more usable as an alternate position for the driver, a great help on long trips. And the 7th, or full-down position, has been improved to bring the front seat cushion and the folded down back into more level alignment. Just as with the standard seats, on two-door models, the reclining seat back can be folded farther forward for greater ease of rear seat entry. Reclining wide bucket seats are the new standard seats on the 440H and 770H and are optional on the 440 and 770 models. Reclining slim bucket seats and console are optional on the 440 and 440H and the 770 and the 770H. An industry exclusive, the reclining slim bucket seats and cushion plus front armrest are the new standard seats for the 990H and optional on the 990. The rear armrest is again standard on the 990H, and the console arrangement is optional on 990 and 990H models. In addition to this wide array of standard and optional seats, we have a new headrest design for 1965. It's been reshaped and positioned farther forward for greater support and comfort. Comfortably seated in his new Rambler, the customer can relax and listen to his AM or AM/FM radio. Both are options for the Classic and Ambassador. They're redesigned for finer appearance and engineered for improved tuning selectivity. With either of these, added enjoyment can be gained through the rear seat speaker system offered for Classic and Ambassador sedans and hardtops. Both the duoacoustic and vibrasound systems have been improved for better fidelity. For 1965, the American radios feature the new blue-green dial lighting used for all instrument panel lights this year. Added comfort comes with improved weather eye heating in 1965. A new cellular heater core creates greater heat output. A bypass is added to the engine cooling system for rapid warm-up, and blower noise has been minimized. And for the driver's convenience, on the Classic and Ambassador, 3 heater controls have been incorporated within a single control console. With all-season air conditioning, too, the center console has been improved for easier operation. And with this option, the higher-rated 40-ampere alternator is now included at no extra cost. On top of all this, there is a great selection of other options for the Rambler buyer to choose from, ranging from new rubber insert bumper guards to stylish wheel discs, and wire wheel covers and remote-controlled rear-view mirrors, and including floor mats, clocks, and the new appearance groups to dress up the car to suit today's dress-up buyer. So this is the story of the sensible spectaculars for 1965. It is a quality story, a story of unexcelled value, a story that is fully backed by American Motors in all 3 distinctive sizes: American, Classic, Ambassador. All Ramblers offer the most in value for today's new car buyers.
Flash-O-Matic tune-up service is a new approach to automatic transmission maintenance and repair. When should a Flash-O-Matic transmission tune-up be performed, and what is involved? Well, with proper road testing and any necessary adjustments at the time of pre-delivery service, the new Rambler owner should expect many thousands of miles driving with a trouble-free transmission. In fact, a good pre-delivery service job on every car is good insurance for the dealership against customer dissatisfaction and comebacks. Then, as time goes on, there can be a normal need for automatic transmission adjustments. Adjustments which the owner should have for his continued driving pleasure. Adjustments which you should merchandise when needed as an owner maintenance service. Flash-O-Matic tune-up service either restores the transmission to original performance standards, or it reveals the need for service other than adjustments. The tune-up then consists of a systematic check and adjustments where necessary of these items: front and rear bands, selector linkage, fluid level and oil pressure, followed by a thorough road test. To do the job properly without guesswork, you need a few important tools and test equipment items. These include a tachometer, oil pressure gauge calibrated from 0 to 300 pounds per square inch, front servo adjusting tools, rear servo adjusting tool, vacuum gauge, vacuum and solenoid unit adjusting kit, and an inch-pound torque wrench. With this equipment assembled, you're ready to begin. We're going to go over the tune-up step by step. Of course, all the services we'll describe are done on the car, but we'll occasionally see a picture of a transmission on the bench for ease of orientation. Always begin by checking the fluid level. If the level is low, there may be a leak. In that case, you'll locate and eliminate the leak during the tune-up. Drain and remove the oil pan. Examine the oil carefully for dirt, varnish, and friction material. Indications of varnish or burned clutch or band material mean you've got an overhaul job instead of a tune-up. Always inspect the oil screens, too. A clogged screen can cause all kinds of problems like slip, slow engagement, and noise by starving the hydraulic system. When necessary, clean the screens in solvent. Never use an air blast to clean the screens. Let's go over the band adjustments now. It's easy to see that the band friction material is subject to wear just like brake linings. Of course, the bands wear less than brakes, but their adjustment is a lot more critical. Here's why. 0.010 of an inch wear on the rear band makes the rear servo piston travel an extra 3/8 inch to apply the band. The front servo piston must travel 5/32 of an inch farther for the same amount of wear. You don't have much margin for error when adjusting bands. For instance, when the rear band is adjusted, only 1/2 turn loose. It's the same as 0.010 wear on the band lining. The rear servo arm will have 3/8 inch free play as shown on the left. The picture on the right shows the arm when the adjustment is correct. Because of the extra servo travel, application of a loose band is delayed and the band slips during application. So a loose band wears rapidly. On the other hand, when the rear band is tightened too tight, the rear servo piston may become cracked and will break. So you can see it's very important to adjust the bands correctly with the proper tools. To adjust the rear band, use the J21111 adapter and J5853 torque wrench. Loosen the lock nut and fit the adapter on the adjusting screw. First, the screw must be tightened to 10 foot-pounds torque. However, the reading on the wrench dial won't be the same as the torque at the screw because of the adapter. So be sure to consult the booklet to see what your torque wrench should read. After you've torqued the screw to specs, back it off 3/4 of a turn on the 6-cylinder or 1.5 turns on the V8 transmission. Then tighten the lock nut securely. For the front band adjustment on 8-cylinder transmissions, use tool J5880-01 and a 250,000ths gauge block. Slide the gauge block between the end of the adjusting screw and the servo piston rod. Tighten the screw until the wrench overruns and mark the adjustment. Loosen the screw to remove the gauge block and then reset the adjustment. Tighten the lock nut 20 to 25 foot-pounds torque. On 6-cylinder transmissions, you adjust the front band with an inch-pound torque wrench and adapter J9639. Use the same 250,000ths inch gauge block under the adjusting screw. This time, a direct torque wrench reading is okay because the adapter is very short. Tighten the screw to 9 inch-pounds torque. Then tighten the lock nut 20 to 25 foot-pounds and remove the gauge block. After the bands are adjusted, make the manual valve selector linkage adjustment. Don't settle for correct positions at the drive range selector lever or push button control. The driver's control positions must be synchronized with the detents in the transmission. When the adjustment is right, the detent is bottomed in each range, and the manual valve is positioned correctly with respect to the ports in the valve body. When the detent isn't bottomed, the manual valve is incorrectly positioned. Passages may be restricted or pressure may be directed to two systems at the same time, causing slip or erratic operation. Begin the adjustment by disconnecting the manual lever linkage at the transmission. In this case, the pan is installed, and tape was used to mark the lever positions for illustrative purposes. Move the manual valve lever all the way to the rear L position, and then move it forward to the third notch. With the pan on, you can check it by feel. Then, with the driver's selector lever held firmly in neutral, adjust the linkage rod trunnion for a free fit in the lever, while holding up on the lever to remove slack. On 8-cylinder only, shorten the rod 3 turns from the free fit. Shift to D1 to check the adjustment. Be sure that the detent is firmly bottomed in the D1 position. Now you can connect the linkage and install the cotter pin. In this picture, you see the lever positions marked with the pan on. If you still have the pan off, reinstall it when this adjustment is complete. Refill the transmission with fluid. The correct amount of clean, approved Rambler fluid is very important too. In fact, poor fluid maintenance is a prime cause of automatic transmission troubles. A poor grade of fluid is apt to oxidize and break down at normal operating temperatures. This results in sludge and varnish formation, which requires a complete overhaul. Low fluid causes the pumps to be starved and suck in air. Aeration causes foaming, which in turn causes loss of pressure, oil spilling out, slip, and pump and clutch noise. Foaming also speeds breakdown of the fluid, leading to sludge and varnish. Too much fluid can be just as bad as not enough. With an overfill, the governor and gear train churn the fluid up and cause foaming. The effects are about the same as not enough fluid. Always check the fluid level with the transmission up to operating temperature and the clutches and servos filled. This means move the selector through all the ranges before checking the level in neutral. Adjust the fluid level between the full and low marks. Never add fluid to the full mark when the fluid is cold, because when the fluid warms, the transmission will be overfilled. However, after the transmission is warmed up, the level should be to the full mark. The next step is adjustment of transmission control pressure. Shift timing and shift quality depend on correct pressures in the control system at all times. Control pressure is modulated by the throttle setting and by road speed through the operation of the throttle valve and the governor valve. Throttle pressure in the transmission is regulated by linkage from the carburetor or by engine intake manifold vacuum. Throttle pressure increases the transmission control pressure. Thus, with more engine torque, there's more pressure to hold the bands and clutches applied. Governor pressure increases as road speed increases. Governor pressure works against throttle pressure and decreases control pressure. We take the governor effect out to adjust the control pressure. Set the parking brake and block the wheels so they can't turn. Then adjust the pressure by repositioning the throttle valve. Here's another important point. Never adjust the pressure on a transmission with throttle linkage control without checking engine performance first. We'll go into the different methods of adjusting the pressure on the other side of the record. On models with throttle linkage control, we use a stall test method to adjust the pressure. Connect the gauge at the rear of the case and connect a tachometer to record engine RPMs. First, check the pressure in D1 at 1,000 RPMs. The pressure varies with the type of transmission, so see your booklet for the correct specs. Let the engine return to idle next and switch the tachometer to the low scale. The pressure should be between 55 and 65 pounds per square inch at the correct idle speed. If the pressure isn't to specs, adjust the clevis at the accelerator bell crank. Lengthen the cable to increase pressure and shorten it to decrease pressure. Here's a word of caution. Never stall the transmission longer than 10 seconds at a time. Between checks, shift to neutral for at least half a minute for cooling. On vacuum-controlled transmissions, there are two methods of setting the pressure. The pressure gauge is connected as before. For the stall method, a vacuum gauge is teed into the vacuum line. In the stall method, accelerate the engine in D1 to pull the vacuum down to the vacuum specified in the booklet. The pressure should be 82 to 88 pounds per square inch and should return to between 55 and 65 pounds per square inch at idle. The other method of adjusting the vacuum-controlled pressure is the vacuum bleed method. In this method, we use tool J8773, teed into the vacuum line, and connect a vacuum gauge to the tool. This test is made with the engine idling at 500 RPMs in neutral. Here we see the bleed valve being adjusted to allow some atmospheric pressure to bleed in. The vacuum spec varies with different models, so again consult your booklet. With the specified vacuum, the pressure gauge should read 82 to 88 pounds per square inch. To adjust the pressure, loosen the vacuum unit lock nut. Turn the unit in toward the case to raise pressure, out away from the case to lower pressure. After the adjustment, cover the bleed hole. This blocks atmospheric pressure so you have normal engine vacuum. Check that the pressure drops to between 55 and 65 pounds per square inch with normal vacuum. Not being able to hold the specified vacuum when adjusting the bleed valve means the vacuum unit has a leaky diaphragm. In that case, you'd replace the vacuum unit before adjusting the pressure. Of course, if you can't adjust pressure within specifications at all, there's some internal trouble, valve body, pressure regulator, or other component that needs attention. Now, your job isn't done until you've made a thorough road test to see whether any other service is needed. And incidentally, don't overlook the value of the road test as a diagnosis tool before servicing automatic transmissions. The road test guide is a list of what to check for during the test, with spaces to record your findings. Always use the guide to be sure you don't miss anything and to help you analyze any trouble afterward. Of course, you'd never road test a transmission unless the fluid level is correct and the fluid is at operating temperature. In the shop, move the selector through all the operating ranges: reverse, D2, D1, and low. Notice whether the transmission engages immediately and positively in each range without harshness. Mark your findings on the guide. Now take the car out on the road and check the shift points and shift quality. The guide tells you at what speed each shift should occur and has a space to record the shift points and whether they're harsh, mushy, or normal. Your road test guide lists the D1 range first, so let's begin there. The guide lists some different shift points for the 6 and V8. We'll go through the 6. From a full stop, apply just enough throttle to accelerate. Note where the light throttle 1 to 2 shift occurs. It should be from 5 to 15 miles per hour. The light throttle 2 to 3 is from 10 to 20 miles per hour. Now, from third gear, Take your foot off the accelerator to check the closed throttle downshift. The transmission should shift from third to first between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Next are the full throttle upshifts. Find a clear stretch of highway and floorboard it from a stop. The 1-2 shift should come in between 35 and 45. And the 2-3 shift should be between 55 and 70. Kick downshifts are very important from a safety standpoint. You must be able to kick down from third to second between 50 and 65. Then, see that you can kick down from second to first between 20 and 30 miles per hour. The last test in D1 is traffic throttle upshifts. Use enough throttle to obtain a 2 to 3 shift at 30 to 35 miles per hour. Note the quality of the shift. Next, repeat the same tests in D2, except, of course, there's no first gear. Light throttle 2 to 3, closed throttle 3 to 2, full throttle 2 to 3, third to second kick down, and traffic throttle 2 to 3 upshift. In low range, there are 2 downshift checks to make. First, shift out of third gear in D1 and D2 to low range. The transmission must downshift to second. Be sure that you're doing less than 70, though, so you don't damage the engine from overspeeding. Then let the car coast in low range and see that the coasting downshift occurs between 10 and 20 miles per hour. During all the tests, be sure to note the quality of the shifts. If they're harsh or mushy, there's more work to do somewhere. When you're not sure about the feel of any shift, compare it by driving another vehicle of known quality. Here is a completed road test form for a transmission with shift problems. We consult the diagnosis guide for the out-of-line conditions noticed on the road test. The guide refers us to correction codes A, B, C, and E. Item A, oil level, item B, control pressure, and item C, manual linkage adjustment, were all taken care of on the tune-up. Therefore, we would check item E, the governor. Now let's summarize our story before we close. Just as you don't call changing points and plugs a complete engine tune-up, you can't be absolutely sure of proper transmission operation unless you make all the tests and necessary adjustments with the proper equipment. The bands, the selector linkage, the fluid level, the control pressure, and a complete road test. With everything in the tune-up worked out according to specifications, the transmission should be restored to original performance. If this isn't the case, consult the diagnosis guide for further service requirements. To guide you in performing the Flash-O-Matic tune-up, there's a booklet accompanying this film. It gives you the complete Flash-O-Matic tune-up story, including specifications. Use Flash-O-Matic tune-up service as it is truly intended, to find and correct conditions that respond to adjustment, to determine whether actual repairs are needed to maintain trouble-free operation and continued driving pleasure for Rambler owners, and in every case, for customer satisfaction through selling the owner what he needs.
Come to our showrooms more eagerly in 1965. Come and stay longer and buy as never before in Rambler history. For here they find fresh, appealing style, spirited Ramblers with sleek, long lines as never before, and a host of models to suit individual tastes. They look for quality, they see quality. And when a seasoned Rambler salesman points out the important quality features, prospects appreciate the benefits to them. But in 1965, there is another important factor. a powerful factor working for every Rambler salesman to turn shoppers into buyers. For here, in addition to the undeniable quality and high styling, you have an edge of value, an edge in quality, a significant price edge, which you can use as a potent sales weapon. This keen competitive edge is a result of one of the boldest and most aggressive pricing decisions in American Motors history. In the face of competitive pricing, which reflects an upward trend by some manufacturers and a hold-the-line policy by others, we have made some price decreases. We have adjusted others to put you in an even more favorable competitive position. This makes it possible for you to offer Rambler quality, more car in 1965, at an attractive Rambler price. You can talk price with a prospect because you have a wide range of models and engine options to work with. Advertise prices from less than $2,000 to over $3,000. So you can guide the prospect, help him find his own price level, the quality level that suits him. You have a Rambler value to suit his needs. You can talk dollar difference to the man who comes in waving some fantastic quotation he got from a competitor down the street. I just came from the dealership down the street, and they figured this deal on a that's in the model. I don't think you can beat it.
Well, I appreciate your coming in. Now, you're apparently a pretty smart buyer. You know it's going to take some careful consideration on the part of both of us. We've got to consider your trade-in, and we've got to see just what you're getting in the way of value for the money in that deal. Without even getting down to details, I'll tell you this. Our Rambler prices, model for model, are comparable with or lower than any American-made car. And I can prove it to you. Now, of course, we've got to be talking about cars in the same ballpark. We've got to be sure we're talking about a Rambler of the same body style, model, and equipment as the you looked at.
Well, after the salesman has the price shopper simmered down to a point where he can listen intelligently, he can talk quality and benefits. He can get the prospect settled on a model. Frequently, if he's a price shopper, it'll be an American. The salesman can build his value story using the outstanding and impressive quality features.
I want you to see the quality in this car yourself, Mr. Douglas. You've seen the car, and it's a good car. But take a look at this. Notice the fine riding quality of the American, Mr. Douglas. This economical engine is just part of the extra value you get in the American. There are a lot of quality features that it's easier to appreciate through these photos, Mr. Douglas. Take our advanced unit construction, for example.
Show him, tell him. Let him experience Rambler quality features and benefits. Then, and only then, does the remarkable value and comparative price have real significance to the prospect. And here are the simple tools to prove the point on price. The quick facts book and a ruler. These prove visually to any prospect that you have a straight edge of value.
Here, let me show you some facts about Rambler's price as compared to that car they showed you at the dealership down the street. And just to keep you from wasting your time, let's see how all similar models stack up. Look at this. Here are the cars we're talking about. Falcon and Comet, Corvair and Chevy 2, Valiant and Dart. Now let's compare advertised delivered prices on these cars. Here you see we have the advertised delivered prices shown on a scale at the left, and columns for the American and all the competitive two-door sedans. Now look what it shows. When I lay this straight edge across the chart right at the American two-door sedan price level, every competitive car is priced higher, including the you looked at. Now the same is true of four-door sedan models. With the ruler right at the low-line model level, the American is the lowest in price, a significant difference with some, more amazing with others. Or, if you should decide to go into the midline four-door sedan model, you can see that every competitive model is priced at a much higher level. So you see, there it is in black and white. Now you've seen what the American has to offer you in the way of features, Mr. Douglas. It all boils down to more car for less money, lasting value.
Will the prospect buy? At least we know that he's been given every opportunity to buy, for the salesman has applied the straight edge of value, the unbeatable combination of quality at a good price. Now, what about classic prospects? As you know, they're immediately attracted by the all-new appearance, the increased length that enhances the look of quality in the classic. But the salesman can build an even stronger impression by pointing up those many details that contribute to the spectacular new look.
I want you to particularly notice how we've blended smart styling with quality of construction this year. Notice the rocker panel area, how it blends with the paneling and trim lines. And it's beefed up this year, too. I'm sure you'll be particularly impressed with the beautiful fabrics we're using in the Classic. The kind of quality materials you'd use if you were designing the interior of this fine car. And notice this acoustical molded fiberglass ceiling. An exclusive quality touch that absorbs sound, gives the quiet ride of true luxury. And I know you'll be impressed with the quality of performance you'll experience with this torque command engine. This is the responsive 232 cubic inch version. Now, last year, this engine was a special option at about $60 extra. This year, on the 660 and 770 models, you get this advanced design 6 that comes on like an 8 for no extra cost. Go for a ride. Let me show you how it performs. You know, there are a lot of things about this car that you should experience firsthand.
Of course, the demonstration is the convincer, because it is here that total quality becomes apparent. Later, just as in resolving a sale to an American prospect, the salesman can make excellent use of the quick facts book to point up the price edge of the Classic.
I know that you folks are enthusiastic about the Classic four-door sedan we drove in. I think you're going to be surprised to find, too, that this all-new model is also priced below competitive cars. In other words, you're not just getting quality, but quality at a lower price. Look here. This shows how your new Classic compares with Fairlane, Chevelle, Belvedere, and Coronet. You get a better idea of it when I put this ruler across the page. You can see why we call this the Rambler straight edge of value. The Classic is below all competitive prices for comparable low-line cars, as you can see.
I'm not so sure, but what we prefer the two-door model. How does that compare?
Well, let me show you. Again, you can see that the price level for the Classic 550 two-door sedan is below that of competition's lowest-priced models. Now, let's again put the ruler at the Classic level. Notice that all competitive cars cost more. Chevelle only slightly. Fairlane, Belvedere, Coronet, considerably more. Enough difference, I'd say, to make the Classic an excellent buy, particularly because it has so many features you like.
Naturally, this is only a part of the total selling technique a Rambler salesman can use to advantage in 1965. But because we are in such an excellent price situation, it becomes a vitally important part of selling tactics. Now, what about price tactics with the Ambassador? Here's the brilliant combination of all that's best in the quality buyers look for in Rambler. Quality is your strong suit with the Ambassador, even before you talk price. For certainly in this car, there is a greater measure of quality than in the popular priced cars, the standard size and larger compacts offered by competition. There are a host of ways a salesman can build this remarkable car in the eyes of the prospect. As you know, it depends upon each individual prospect and the features and benefits that get a positive response.
It's a handsome automobile, isn't it? Let your eye follow along that full 200 inches in overall length. But also, it's a sensible, wider car. And I think you'll agree that it has spectacular styling in the sculptured paneling, the way it's trimmed, and particularly with the new headlight arrangement. There's a spacious interior for you, and all the luxury that you'd expect from this finely crafted automobile. That's the kind of attention to detail that you find in the Ambassador. Detail even to the smooth, gliding, friction-free ashtray. And the mark of excellent craftsmanship is found throughout. This car has the optional disc brakes. You won't find them offered on any car in Ambassador's class. Like so many features of the Ambassador, this is really beyond anything that competition has to offer. I'd like to take just a moment to mention some of the outstanding extra value features of the Ambassador. Features which, though they're expensive to provide, you get at no extra cost. Now here, for example, deep dip rust proofing. Now this process.
With the Ambassador, as with American and Classic, the salesman has a golden opportunity to add significant benefits to his sales story. Keep in mind that it may seem like familiar information to you if you've sold these benefits time and time again, but they're brand spanking new features to this prospect. Vitally important to his buying decision if he knows his Rambler will have strong, safe, advanced unit construction, frame and body a single welded unit. Exclusive one-piece uniside panels for greatest possible strength and rigidity and more perfect fit. The new 3 coats of Luster Guard acrylic enamel, the most beautiful and durable of car finishes. 14 beautiful colors for all Rambler models and as many as 52 two-tone combinations. The famous self-adjusting double safety brake system, a strong safety appeal to customers, standard on all Ramblers. And new for 65 are optional disc brakes, a feature not offered by any car in Rambler's class. Each feature you can bring out adds to the luster of the Ambassador. Remember, prospects for top-line cars look for and expect top quality. They're not essentially price shoppers, and yet you'll find you can talk price.
Mr. Allen, as you've seen, the Ambassador has the quality you'd expect in the finest of automobiles. But as you can see, in size, in power plant, in price, Ambassador is closer to the popular priced cars, such as Ford, Chevrolet, the Special and F-85, the Tempest and Plymouth. Here, for example, is the price of the 2-door hardtop you like, compared to those other cars in the same model. Notice that the Ambassador is below the price of all competition, with one exception. Mr. Allen, you get more value with your Ambassador. It's just a matter of getting more for your money.
More for your money. That strikes a welcome note with any Rambler prospect. Keep in mind, too, that your dealer can show you that as an aggressive merchant, he can make more generous trade-in allowances whenever the customer indicates his interest in buying the flagship of the line. Your dealer can show you how you can match those Ford, Chevrolet, and Plymouth deals using the long Ambassador trading edge. He can show you your big trading advantage over Special, F-85, and Tempest in the heart of the market. With the Ambassador, you can outtrade any competitive car in the Rambler size class, bar none. And there are 16 of them. Yes, in 1965, you have Rambler quality working strongly for you. Plus, new Rambler pricing, our bold stand in pushing back the price barrier. It results in Rambler value in 1965. Value customers look for, listen for, and buy for. It means selling is possible as never before in Rambler history. It's your Rambler straight edge of value. Lay it on the line with customers to get your share of the big market in 1965.
What is it that makes any person want to buy one car more than another? In most cases, it's not simply to gain transportation. For cars have a very special meaning for people. A man's car is an expression of himself. Just a few years ago, when basic utility, economy, simplicity were popular ideas, Rambler was in the market with a car stressing basic excellence, usefulness to the user, and this car was a tremendous sales success. Today, the predominant tone of the times has changed. People have more money to spend, and they want more. For example, today they want cars with color, flash, and youth appeal. Cars with custom trim and luxury options. Cars with stick shifts and emphasis on performance. This is the kind of package today's buyer wants. In fact, today's buyer is spending hundreds of dollars more per car than he was just a couple of years ago, and with very little change in basic price. This is because he not only wants the youthful car, the plus options, but in today's affluent society, he can afford it and is willing to pay for it. That's why there is a steadily growing demand for custom trim, bucket seats, sports car wheel discs, and the spirited styles of hardtops and convertibles. As a matter of fact, as recently as 1961, only 1 out of 10 American cars produced was a hardtop or convertible. While in 1964, the production of these models has nearly tripled. This is the rich, new, mass-selling market. The market that Rambler is reaching for with a sparkling selection of prestige models. 6 hardtop models, 2 models in each Rambler series. And 3 new convertibles, 1 in each series. 7 great new advanced design engines, including the 2 PowerPack V8s and the world's most advanced 6, the Torque Command. Plus, a wide assortment of transmission options. plus Rambler famous extra value features, and the widest selection of custom luxury options in the industry. This is the new Rambler image, an image of youthful appeal, sporty styling, sparkling performance. An image of youthful flair, an image that reflects our spirited times. Yet, let's face it, there are still some who think of Rambler as only the sensible economy car of the past. With these people, customers, prospects, even some Rambler salespeople, the new Rambler spectacular image has not been fully established. This image of the sensible spectaculars must be created through our national advertising and public relations, through hometown advertising and promotion, and perhaps most important, through the contagious enthusiasm of Rambler salesmen in personal contact with owners and prospects. It's a fact that the salesman who prospers today is the salesman who understands the new Rambler image of the sensible spectaculars, and who imparts his own conviction to the people he meets, uses proof with such things as the X-ray book. This is the salesman who sells Rambler hardtops when he could have sold sedans, who sells the high-performance torque command, the V8s, shift command and console, and transmission options, who is constantly alert to the opportunity to step up a qualified Rambler prospect. How do these salesmen do it? Well, let's answer that with a few typical examples. Here is a Rambler salesman talking to a cautious buyer. This prospect is by now well qualified and says he's interested in basic transportation, primarily because the salesman proved to him that Rambler's basic price was below any competitive car. But before closing the deal, and simply yielding to what the customer indicated first, and sensing that the sedan is not fully satisfying the customer's real desire for the kind of car that will be the envy of the neighbors, the salesman asks,
Mr. Bogan, have you given any thought to perhaps owning a hardtop instead of a sedan? It's a real beauty, you know.
Well, yes. And I do like its looks, but, well, what's the use? It's just more money than I want to spend.
Well, if price is all that's holding you back, maybe you ought to take another look. Here. You see where the 440 hardtop falls in the price scale? That'll amount to only about $6 more each month than the sedan. And you get the torque command engine as standard on this model. Also, when you trade this model in, you'll more than likely make up the few dollars difference because hardtops are so much more popular and saleable. And I'm sure you'll get a great deal more satisfaction out of driving this car. It's a real beauty. Go ahead, get behind the wheel. See what it feels like.
and with the prospect's interest aroused, the salesman gives him a full presentation on the added prestige features of the hardtop. In this case, the step up to a hardtop took only the suggestion that for a little more money, the prospect could have something finer and more elegant. Then, he found the customer's objection, price, which was really only a defense, and helped the customer see for himself how easy it would be to buy what he really wanted. Finally, he put the prospect behind the wheel so he could experience in full measure the advantages of the hardtop. Now, let's look at another example. Here's a solid, successful businessman who has, among other things, a wife and 2 children. He's decided on an Ambassador 990. After all, money is no great problem with him, and business appearance is important. It will be a 4-door sedan, for his family is important to him, too. A 4-door sedan, all quite elegant. But as they head for the closing room, the prospect pauses to take a glance at the 990H, and the salesman is quick to notice his interest.
You know, that's a beautiful automobile. Has real class, don't you think?
Yes, it's a beauty, all right. But I don't know. With a family of 4, the sedan seems more practical. It's such a nuisance climbing in and out of the back seat of a 2-door.
Oh, you certainly have a point there, but in your case, this might be an advantage. In your family, about the only people getting in the back would be your children. This is no problem for kids. And on the hardtop, the doors are wider than on the 4-door. It's actually easier for you and your wife to get in and out. Besides, with no rear doors, you can ride with confidence that your children are safe. They can't accidentally open a door while the car is moving.
Well, I'll admit that's one way of looking at it.
Tell you what, I have an Ambassador hardtop like this outside. It has the big 327-inch V8 in it and the shift command transmission. I know you'll want those in a car like this. Why don't we take a short drive in it? Then you can take it home, show it to the family, take them for a ride, see how they like it.
Again, this salesman started a step-up sale simply by taking a good opportunity to make a suggestion. Then, looking for a possible objection and presenting a logical answer to it. And finally, and most important in selling top-line models, offering the demonstration drive, letting the customer take a car so that he could begin to feel a little pride of ownership in this finest of cars. This is an age of youthful ideas and youthful appeals. And if you look closely, you'll find the spark of youth in people of all ages. On the surface, this lady seems rather severe and prim. And this quality is reflected in her traditional purchase of cars. But her salesman knows her well.
Mrs. Peabody, you know you've owned nothing but plain black four-doors for years. Don't you think it's time for something different?
Oh, no, I don't believe so. This kind of car suits me fine. Oh, I'll admit, there have been times when I've been tempted by some of the bright colors and fancy trimmings. But really, those notions just aren't appropriate for a lady of my advanced years.
Hi, Mrs. Peabody, you've got to be kidding me. You old? You know, they say you're only as old as you feel. And certainly fun is not the exclusive right of your children or grandchildren. You know, you're alone now. Your youngsters are grown and have families of their own. And now, maybe for the first time, you've got the chance to kick up your heels and have some fun. Tell you what, let me take just a second of your time to show you the one car in the world that I believe fits you like a glove. There it is. Youthful, sporty, but with dignity and elegance. Now tell me, isn't that just the car for a young lady on the move?
Naturally, you can't get away with that kind of flattery on very many prospects, but the basic pattern is still there. First, the simple suggestion of something a little finer than the prospect has asked for. Then, watching for a possible objection. Then answering that objection in terms that are meaningful to the prospect. And finally, showing, presenting, and demonstrating the car in such a way the prospect will never be happy with anything less. And that's the way it goes. Top Rambler salesmen have found that in today's affluent market, it's not hard to sell the hardtop, the convertible, the power devices, and convenience options. He need only be alert to the prospects who might move up a notch, or make the simple suggestion that perhaps something a little finer might be suitable. Build the new and spectacular Rambler image in presenting the car, and get the prospect behind the wheel so he can experience the quality and elegance for himself. And even if you don't win them all, you can never offend a prospect by suggesting that he deserves the very best. And besides, if you follow this pattern, you're bound to wind up earning more money. And that's not all bad either.
Here, now, in 1965, is your greatest opportunity for sales and commissions. You have today the finest line of cars to sell in the history of American motors. And the new Marlin is the most exciting traffic builder to appear in years. You have strong advertising support, building public interest in these cars. And you have Rambler special promotions, such as Rambler's Challenge to Change sweepstakes. These promotions are designed to reach people, interest them in Rambler, and invite them to drive a Rambler. With all such promotions, you stand to be the big winner. With extra sales, added income from dealing with large numbers of qualified prime prospects. This year, you can win by meeting your personal challenge. Sell 5 cars this year for every 4 you sold last. And do it with a sound work plan based on your 5-a-day prospecting system, combined with an effective demonstration program.
Now let's review in greater detail the basic selling methods by which you can benefit from activities like this. You are receiving, and will continue to receive, 5-a-day prospecting cards bearing the names and addresses of competitive owners in your area, plus your local Rambler owners. Put these cards to work immediately. You might start by sorting and filing them, by neighborhood groups, by dates on which you plan sales action, by whatever method suits you. Then start getting these people acquainted with you through the mail. Send them Rambler postcards, introducing yourself, encouraging them to come in. A card like this not only serves as a reminder of the promotion, but gives the prospect information he should know, your name and the name of your dealership. It paves the way for your next step. To make this or any such program work for you, send at least 25 such cards every day. This is not just an arbitrary number. It represents the fact that with postcards, you are playing the odds, trying to reach the one person in any neighborhood group who is considering a new car right now. And the more cards you send, the better your chance of reaching that man. A couple of days later, follow up by telephone. The personal call increases by many times the chances that the prospect will come into your dealership. So each day, make as many phone calls as you have time for, and say something like this.
Mr. Edmonds, this is Dave Jackson at Hometown Rambler. Am I interrupting anything important? Fine. Did you receive my card about Rambler's Challenge to Chain sweepstakes? Well, I wondered when it might be convenient for you to drop in and let me enter you in the drawing. You know, you have a good chance to win a big prize in this challenge. And whether you win or not, if you'll test drive one of our cars, I'll give you a scale model miniature of a new Rambler.
In this way, try to make at least 5 showroom appointments every day, because these prospects are the best possible kind of floor traffic. And before they start to come in, be sure you're ready for them. Have all your sales literature organized. X-ray books, quick reference guide, catalogs, color and trim books, data book, and, of course, sales order forms. Be prepared to make a full selling presentation on any car you have on the floor. And be fully prepared to conduct an effective demonstration drive. And this definitely includes making absolutely certain that your demonstrator is in peak condition, that its appearance is gleaming and spotless, outside, under the hood, in the trunk, and of course, inside the car. In addition, this car should be in peak mechanical condition, the engine tuned to perfection, and all operating parts thoroughly checked and adjusted. When a prospect does come in, start by giving him the warm, friendly welcome. In this case, it might go like this.
Yes, Mr. Edmonds, nice of you to come in. I'll be glad to enter your name in the drawing.
And this salesman leads his prospect to the sweepstakes prize chart and explains all the chances he has to win.
While you're here, maybe you'd like to enter our bonus sweepstakes. That gives you an additional chance. You can win a 1965 Rambler. All you have to do is test drive one of our new Ramblers. In addition, I'll give you a Rambler scale model free just for taking the drive.
Then, before starting any demonstration, the salesman makes this suggestion.
Mr. Edmonds, suppose while we're out, I arrange for a free appraisal of your car. Do you have your keys?
With the appraisal arranged for, the salesman takes the prospect to the demonstrator to get started on a real selling demonstration. The driving demonstration is not left to chance. The salesman has planned this drive carefully because he knows that this is the finest possible way to turn prospects into buyers. He has planned how he will handle the prospect to impress him most favorably with the car. Generally, the salesman will suggest that he drive first. This gives him a chance to show and tell about Rambler features, such as starting, shifting, steering, braking, while the customer watches. Also, this gives the salesman the opportunity to establish the demonstration route, which is most important. Some good salesmen believe in a route that has some of every kind of driving condition available to him. Stop-and-go city traffic, high-speed expressway, neighborhood streets, steep hills, rough roads and railroad crossings. A great variety of roads which will show how beautifully this car handles under all conditions. Others believe in making this drive as serene and pleasant as possible. Thus, they may select a route of smooth blacktop pavement, of nice scenery, pleasant surroundings, such as you might find in a park. The whole route is planned for the greatest quiet, ease of handling, driving pleasure. Whatever the route used, after driving away from the dealership for a while, the salesman invites the prospect to take the wheel for the return trip. And while the prospect is driving, the salesman lets him set the pace. The salesman is quiet, allowing the prospect to completely enjoy this experience. The salesman speaks only to answer a question or make a helpful suggestion. Finally, when they have returned to the dealership, the salesman capitalizes on the prospect's enthusiasm for his driving experience.
Mr. Edmonds, I see you're thinking about buying a new car this year. I'd like to think that it might be one of our fine new Ramblers.
And he goes on to qualify his prospect carefully, depending on how the prospect reacts. The salesman may go into a full showroom presentation on a classic, an American, or an ambassador. Or he may use X-ray to sell Rambler features and values against some other car if the prospect is considering another. Or, with the appraisal in hand, he may start right in talking price, trade-in, options, and delivery. Whether or not he makes the sale at this time, he finds a reason to introduce the prospect to his dealer or sales manager. In this case, it might go like this.
Okay, Mr. Edmonds, you're in the drawing for the dream home and other prizes. And you've qualified for the bonus sweepstakes with a chance to win a Rambler. I'll just ask Mr. Edgar to sign your entry. Make it official, you know. Come in. I'd like to have you meet him.
This introduction impresses the prospect with the friendliness and businesslike approach of the dealership, and it builds goodwill.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us, Mr. Edmonds, and to wish you luck in the sweepstakes. May I ask, how did you like driving a Rambler?
In this way, the introduction also provides the chance for the dealer to add his persuasion to the salesman's. To the prospect, this is simply getting his entry validated. To the salesman, it is getting third-party support to help close a sale. Finally, the salesman places the prospect's entry form in the ballot box and graciously presents him with his scale model Rambler.
Mr. Edmonds, because you took a challenge to change drive, we have this miniature car for you. It's an exact scale model of a 1965 Rambler, and I sincerely hope that you'll have a full-size version of this in your drive before long. In fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to give you a call in a day or two to see when you might like to take your whole family for a drive in a new Rambler.
Thus, if the salesman hasn't already made the sale, he arranges for further follow-up and then thanks the prospect for taking the time to come in. These have been some suggestions of effective ways for handling the volume of prospects you'll get from the Challenge to Change campaign and similar Rambler promotions. Undoubtedly, each of you has his own methods of handling each prospect. If they work for you, fine. The big point is, you must start out by realizing that anyone who receives a Rambler mailing stands a very good chance of being a prime prospect. For example, the people who receive sweepstakes entry forms are not just people who